Good afternoon, I'm Tracy Sinclair, and we are here for our Wednesday potluck. And you know, when you go to a potluck, you're never quite sure what you might get. You might get a variety of dishes. You might get potato salad, you might get macaroni salad, and you might not want either, but you might love both. And so what we're going to do today is you're going to get this mixture of some of the fun stories that I've been able to find and some interesting stories, just kind of a mix of everything that we've got going on here at Alaska's News Source. February is Black History Month, and when I want to learn something, when I want to know more about something, I always think the best place to find out is to head to the library. This edition of In-Depth Alaska, I'm Tracy Sinclair, and February is Black History Month. Now, this originally began as a week back in 1926 and then was expanded to a month and formally recognized in 1976 by President Gerald Ford. February is chosen because it contains the birthday of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. We wanted to learn more, so the best thing I think you can do is talk to a librarian because they're going to know. And so joining me now is Kim Cameron with the Anchorage Public Library. She is a youth services librarian. And so Kim, I would love to hear some recommendations about some books of influential African Americans that we can learn about during this month.
Yes, I have a whole host of books to show you today to talk about. We have everything from nonfiction that specifically covers Alaska, Black lives living in Alaska. We have poetry and a children's book. And one of my favorite books we're going to talk about today is The Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler.
Oh, I would love to hear. So why do you say that that is one of your favorite books?
I read that book during the pandemic, and I remember getting to a certain point in the book where I just cried. I bawled. It was so impactful, so beautifully written that it immediately became one of my favorite books.
Excellent. And so let's start with some adult books. Now, if I'm somebody that's coming in and I say, not really a fiction reader, as you said, kind of a nonfiction reader. Can you find me something?
Yeah.
What would be a good recommendation for me?
So the first recommendation I have is Black Lives in Alaska. It was published in 2002. It is written by Ian Hartman and David Reamer. Ian Hartman is a professor of history at the University of Alaska Anchorage, and David Reamer is a public historian and journalist who writes for the Anchorage Daily News. And then the book also includes a foreword by Calvin Williams, who served as an NAACP president here in Alaska. The book details Alaskan history with a focus on the contributions, the achievements, and the struggles that African Americans faced here in Alaska from the mid-19th century all the way to the last 2 decades of the 20th century and the first few years of the 21st century. So Hartman and Reamer cover, they document the first presence of Black people in Alaska, Black men in Alaska. Early as the 1840s, whalers came all the way from Massachusetts and other parts of New England to the icy waters of the Arctic Oceans. And they detail wartime Alaska and how global conflict created new opportunities for Black populations, as well as limiting the pursuit of other opportunities. They discuss discrimination in post-World War II Alaska. I think the book really details the complex relationship between different groups of minorities in Alaska and how things like legislation and discriminatory policies, wartime Alaska, military presence, even things like extraction capitalism and Alaska's ever-changing like economic fortunes and how they have an effect on the livelihood of Black people living in Alaska.
That's interesting. Now, you were also saying that there are do you have some fiction books? And I know you mentioned poetry. Where would we go from here?
Yeah, I do have a poetry book. So this book I have is African American Poetry, 250 Years of Struggle and Song. It's actually a book that I have in my personal collection as well as it's in the library collection. I think it is a beautiful book, and that's why I chose it. It's physically it's very beautiful. It's kind of like a sweeping anthology that spans 250 years of American poetry. And I kind of think of it as a chorus of African American voices, kind of spanning a continuum. And it's so well organized. It starts in kind of like 18th century kind of colonial America, and it starts with poets like Phillis Wheatley, all the way to like contemporary 21st century poetry. The book includes even things like um, the poems that that you would recite while doing jump rope, or just songs and that you would sing. Um, the 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 themes that go on that span through this book are of grief and joy and survival, and joy as resistance.
That sounds lovely, and the way you describe it as well. Some books, I'm an ebook reader. I tend to go straight to the ebooks, but that feels like something that you'd want a physical copy of, like you'd want to hold it in
Yeah,
your
the
hands.
book is it's beautiful. It's so well done. I sometimes I will just pick it up and I'll read a poem here or there, and then I'll put it away. You can read it from start to finish, or just leisurely go along through the book and see where you land.
That sounds amazing. Let's talk about children's books because, as you said, you're the youth services librarian. What kind of books would you recommend for children for this month?
So I recommend the book Sulwe by Lupita Nyong'o that was published in 2019. I think the book is just beautiful. It is a touching story about a young girl who is the darkest in her family. And she describes her mother being the color of dawn and her father being the color of midday and or afternoon. And her sister is the color of high noon and she's the color of midnight. And she feels isolated from her family and her community because she looks different and she feels like she's treated different. And it's a story of acceptance, of acceptance of oneself, and the importance um, of having these conversations with children when they're having these kind of difficult observations of themselves and the world around them.
That sounds interesting and kind of heartbreaking at the same time.
Yeah, it is. It was a little bit heartbreaking to read, but I also think it was so beautifully done. There's some imagery in the book that's just so powerful. It's written by Lupita Nyong'o, and illustrations are by Vishti Harrison, and they illustrate this kind of personification of daylight and nighttime, and they look the same. And I think it kind of highlights the sameness that we, our similarities that we share, rather than our differences.
Now, if somebody is interested in picking up one of these books, and I certainly hope that they are because they sound fascinating, what is the best way? How can they, if they haven't been to the library in years or they're not regular library goers, how do we do this?
Yeah, just come on over to the library. As long as you're an Anchorage resident, we're happy to sign you up for library card and show people how to use the catalog. We can look materials up ourselves and make recommendations right there on the spot. But yeah, come on over to the library and we can look this up for you.
I would like to thank my guest, Kim Cameron, with the Anchorage Public Library's Youth Services Librarian. Thank you so much, Kim, for stepping in
Thank
and
you.
giving us some recommendations.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Let's try turning my mic on. I really did have so much fun talking to Kim, and we're going to try and do more of these special months. They do a lot of great recommendations over at the Anchorage Public Library, so we're going to try and pick up some of those and just get out some different recommendations as we move through the year. So when we come back, we've got a great story. Two Alaskans, brothers, have recently returned from the climb of Mount Kilimanjaro. Danny Tompkins has been working on this story for days. She's going to jump in here and give us kind of some highlights of what we can expect for tonight. We'll be right back. And welcome back to this edition of your Wednesday Potluck. Again, you're going to get a little mix of everything. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today is a cool story that Danny Tompkins has been working on. Two brothers, Alaskans from Nome. They're kind of known, if I understand, for doing these adventurous things.
Yes. Yeah, one of the first ways I heard of them was they were on a reality TV competition, the Race to Survive Alaska edition, and being from Nome, they had to step up and they did win. So that's how I first heard of them. But yeah, this is their third major summit that they've done in 3 different continents.
And so what have they climbed before?
They did Denali. They were the first people to do it in the 2019 season. They skied down, and the second one I can't quite pronounce. So I'll leave that to the web article. But.
Okay. We'll try that. And now the summit that they're just coming back from is?
Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro.
Africa.
And so what did they have to say? We've got a little bit of video of their climb. What was the highlight for them?
Yeah, they said, the highlight, they said, is getting to do it with each other. They really get along as brothers, which doesn't always happen, but they love having each other's company. And one highlight was the different ecosystems you go through on this hike. There's rainforest, there's a desert portion, there's the alpine where there's snow at the top, and so there's all these different places you're walking through in just 7 days. They did it in 7 days, so they said that was pretty incredible, and the view at the top was amazing. And something I thought was interesting was they brought the Alaskan flag. They've done this on all of their summits. It's just so cool to see the Alaskan spirit up there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So just watching this, as you said, you were talking about the different ecosystems that they are watching through, and we're going to kind of show this again because it was fascinating. So that we're seeing snow, and then you saw dry desert. That is fascinating.
Yes, yeah. One brother actually said the desert was his favorite because it was a switch up. I believe that was Oliver, and Wilson, he enjoyed the snow because it reminded him of home. They threw snowballs at each other, and they said their guides were telling them to put their jackets on because it was cold, but they're like, no, we're from Alaska, we don't need that.
Right, this is our world. This is what we're from. Okay, so you're gonna have a story, and you're gonna you have some interviews with these guys for tonight,
yes.
And we'll talk to them. The question that I have, though, they've done. This is their third. What's next?
Yeah, they hope to do all of the 7 summits.
Oh, cool.
Yep, they said they'd like to do Antarctica next, but that is the most expensive one. So
I was gonna say.
They'd have to save up. I know Oliver also has a bike trip he started in South America, goes through Prudhoe Bay, and the last place he was at was Durango, Colorado, so he has to finish his bike trip as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we've kind of been tracking them for a couple of years because they're kind of known for being this adventuresome pair, and really exciting and really interesting. And so you'll want to see her story. You'll be able to find that, of course, during our news broadcasts. What newscast are you in tonight?
Yes, I'm in both the 6 and the 10. The extended one will be in the 10.
Okay, so you'll want to check those out. And then, of course, they're going to be on our streaming platform. So you'll be able to find them there. If you're not watching us on streaming, where you're sitting there watching us on TV, really easy to do. Just download the app onto your Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Roku, Android TV. There's probably a little button that says Add Channel or Add App. Add the Alaska's News Source one. And so Danny is going to be doing that. This is kind of interesting, and I'm going to let you ask you to stay here for just a second while I do this, because I think you and I both have these tattoos. They come in all shapes and sizes, and they mean different things to different people. I have mine in honor of BTS. Seriously. But then sometimes you get to the point where you need to remove those tattoos. And I actually have a friend who is attempting to remove that too. It can be quite a long and painful process. So our Investigate TV crew went out and checked it out.
For Tony Parisi,
I like to draw it as we're doing it.
every tattoo
We're making a sacred connection, you know.
is personal.
So even if you're just getting a little tiny name, I'm still grateful that you came in and trusted me to do that little tiny name.
Hundreds of people have trusted Tony to create the perfect permanent display of self-expression. Steve Freeshoe is getting an American flag.
I'm patriotic. I'm former law enforcement. My brother's in the military.
These days, all types are getting tattooed.
I've tattooed rocket scientists, doctors, nurses, lawyers that have gotten me out of traffic tickets.
Tony admits the tattoo business has come a long way. Body art is now more mainstream and no longer a deal breaker in the work world. But not all tattoos are created equal.
If they're trying to get something on their hands, we call that in the industry, that's the job killer.
But that's exactly what a young Dylan Sherman wanted years ago. That was then, and this is now.
Your aesthetic is everything.
Officer Dylan Sherman is a 5-year veteran of the Baton Rouge Police Department.
You have a lot of tattoos.
I do. I got a few.
At 30, he now wants to portray a different image by covering his arm tattoos and removing the very visible designs on his hands.
How you keep your boots shined, how you keep your uniform clean, everything has an effect on how they perceive you.
And for Dylan, perception plays an important role in getting promoted.
When I eventually get into a more professional position, I think to myself, how do I want to present myself to the guys around me and to the public? I'm not one to say I really care what other people think, but when I look in the mirror and I see what I look like, I want to be as professional as possible.
All right, here we go.
Dylan turned to Abby Woodard, owner of Louisiana Laser Derm, for laser tattoo removal.
We're seeing a much younger crowd trying to get tattoo removal than we ever have before.
Laser tattoo removal involves using a laser to deliver energy so fast to the skin that it shatters the ink molecules.
This is a neck tattoo.
Abby says tattoo removal is a large part of her business, with most clients removing ink they received in high school or soon after.
Most people's tattoos that we remove are from the ages of 16 to 22. And then I feel like something switches in your brain.
Just like getting a tattoo, tattoo removal is a big commitment, often taking 2 to 15 treatments to see optimal results. There's several weeks of healing time between each session, and the ink, age, and application of a tattoo can dictate the level of difficulty when it comes to removal.
Blues, ocean blue, teal blue, that is one of the hardest colors to remove.
With black being the opposite.
By far, black is the easiest. Black tattoos. If you want to get a tattoo, get a black tattoo. I tell my kids that. I'm like, get a black tattoo, don't get it on your arms or your neck, and you'll be okay.
What's not typically easy to handle is the price, which starts at $150, and the pain.
How much does it hurt?
Oh, the famous question. So, tattoo removal in general, it does hurt.
There are multiple options for pain management, such as topical or injectable lidocaine or cryotherapy.
We do have a proprietary skin cooling method that we use that has been very effective, to where I used to have patients where it probably took me 4 years to remove a tattoo because they just didn't want to come back.
For Dylan, quitting the process is not an option.
How will you feel when it's finally done?
I'd say to a level relieved.
This was the beginning, and then this is his follow-up.
That chapter of my life is over and I'm ready to move on to the next one.
Which will actually include more arm tattoos that he can conceal at work.
Eventually everything's going to be sleeved up, and I've always loved the body work and the aesthetic of them.
Tony couldn't agree more and keeps his tattoo gun humming, helping his clients like Steve make decisions he hopes will last a lifetime.
This is forever, so it's going to look as good as it can look.
Whether it stays put or not.
That was so interesting. I had never realized that certain tattoo colors are harder to remove. That is fascinating. And I have to say, in all honesty, Danny doesn't have any tattoos. I thought she did, and I gave her, I said that she did, and she didn't. So I do, though. I have a couple, and I'm not ready to remove them. They're not going to go anywhere for a while. But really fascinating, really interesting stuff there, and interesting that blue is the hardest color to remove. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, you know, we're talking Rondi. It is getting close. We're also going to bring in our chief meteorologist here in the next few minutes and have her give us a forecast. Welcome to this Wednesday afternoon's version of the Potluck, and we're talking about the upcoming Winter Festival here in the Anchorage area. If you've not been to it, it's a lot of fun, and it's kind of had a revival, I would say, in the last 10 years. It's just really come back into its own. And one of the big things, though, that has been around for decades has been the pins, the famous Rondi pins.
So it's the Rondi pin swap, which is a long-standing tradition with Fur Rondi, and some of these people have collections from the very beginning. Some of them have just a single collection that they want to sell, or they have a whole, they have tons and tons and tons of surplus pins that they've been collecting over the years.
All these are different years.
Or people want to get started pin collecting, and this is where they come, because they know that they can find the treasures here.
Oh, that's it! That's it!
Is that right?
Yeah, isn't that awesome? Okay, so I got these.
I've been collecting really since I came to Alaska in 1959. So I've been collecting the pins for 60-some years.
The best part about it is coming and talking to people about the pins that they love, the pins that are important to them. It's an addiction.
I'm not exactly sure when I started collecting, but I would say it's in probably the 90s probably. And then I just become addicted to every place I seen them, I bought them. I got a bunch now.
The event has been here for at least the last 10 years, and it will continue to be here as long as they'll have us.
Yeah, as long as they'll
really,
take
as
us
long as they'll
back.
keep us.
I'm not going to acquire anymore.
That in your collection?
I have a lot.
Okay.
I actually have been kind of cleaning my house, and one of the things that I found was a kind of collection of old Rondi pins, and that just kind of made me think of it. I'm certainly not a collector, but just individual years that I picked up because, you know, my family's been in Alaska since 1972, so we've done a lot of Fur Rondi. So again, if you haven't been, like maybe you're watching us out of state, you're not in Alaska, it is always a fun event. One of the highlights of this event for many of us is the snow sculptures, and you know, it takes a lot to get these ready, so Charlie Fellows checked it out this weekend.
Artisans arrived in the parking lot on Ship Creek Avenue in Anchorage Saturday with a vision, ready to shape these 8-foot-tall frozen monoliths into works of art.
So this year is going to be Lady Liberty. 12 feet tall, hopefully. So 8, and then a big arm holding the torch on that side.
Ranch dressing was actually invented in Alaska. A lot of people don't know, back in the 50s. So we're doing this whole promotional thing, and we decided it'd be fun to make a giant bottle of ranch.
All ambitious and daunting tasks, whether you're new to the game or a seasoned pro.
My eyes are open to what they're doing and the tools that they're using, and I think I might need a few sharper tools.
You know, my title, my solo name is Sir Numb-A-Lot, so I don't know if I'm numb in the mind or numb in the fingers, but craftsmanship is chipping away.
This year, at least, the canvases are a bit more forgiving.
100 times better than last year. Last year, you had a snow drought, right? And the snow is sort of a chocolate color. I even brought some snow from the parking lot over there and put it up against the sculpture, and you could really see the contrast.
All worth it in the end for the memories.
My first date with my wife was here, and she used to do it with me. We did family.
My first year I tried doing a rocket ship, and the thing, right at judging, it fell down. 15 minutes before judging, I cut off the base of the rocket flames, and the whole thing tipped over. And I said, well, I can do better, and here we are 15 years later doing this.
And the satisfaction of a job well done.
This is the best day. You come down and see the big snow block, and then come back on next Sunday and notice that there's like, whoa, their imaginations went wild.
Charlie Fellows, Alaska's news source.
That is one of my favorite events for Rondi, is the snow sculptures. And I have to say, there are many years that we get a false spring and they're kind of a mess. And you go down there and they're, as he said, like last year they had to kind of get snow where they could, and it was dirty snow. And this year, so much snow. So of course we have to bring in our chief meteorologist, Melissa Fry, and say, is it going to melt?
No. The snow this week is not going anywhere. No, everything is going to be firmly solid in place.
Yay.
It's cold, if you haven't noticed.
It is cold. And on the good side, it means that the ice sculpture, or the snow sculptures will not met. Ice sculptures in the interior. Fairbanks, you've got your ice art championship going on right now. But it's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold, yes. But I want to start with the good news.
Okay.
Because before we jump into how cold it's going to be, take a look at our daylight. And you've probably noticed it no matter where you are in the state. We are climbing quickly at this point. So we're still gaining more than 5 minutes a day in Anchorage, more than 6 minutes a day in Fairbanks, more than 5 minutes in Juneau and Ukqiavik, nearly 10 minutes gained with each day. So over one day, that's 5 minutes. But over a week, that is close to half an hour change. So our sunrise right now in Anchorage, 8 o'clock, setting just after 6 p.m. We are now, as of today, officially over 10 hours of daylight. And you can see most of the state pretty close. We're up to nearly 9 hours already in Ukqiavik. So on the slope, you've really come a significant way. And I don't want to blow anyone's mind, but daylight saving time begins in a week and a half. Not this weekend, but the weekend after that. It is March 7th, I believe, the first Sunday there in March.
Is it? Because that's a little early. Usually it's the second Sunday.
Well,
I always think of it, it's right in the middle of the Iditarod.
I have to look at a calendar to know, but because of where the second Sunday falls, I think the first Sunday is the first or second of the month. I have to look at a calendar to know.
I think you're right. It is the first.
Yes.
Because the Iditarod starts on the 7th.
Yes.
Which is the Saturday.
Yes, so it is March 8th then when it starts. So yeah, so that's coming just around the corner. Okay, let's talk about conditions across the state. We have two things going on. One, it has been dumping snow in Southeast, in Haines, along the Haines Highway. You can see it has been nonstop for the second day in a row. We do still have winter storm warnings and advisories in place. Juneau, Sitka, down into Prince of Wales Island. You're going to hold on to those snow showers tonight into tomorrow. So still seeing another 2 to 4 inches on top of what you've already seen. Now, as you move back into South Central, the warnings that we have in place are mainly due to wind. We are seeing some extreme wind. We call this an outflow wind. It's coming in here behind the storm. Same scenario that we saw last week. So the areas that are highlighted here in purple and red, that shows you where those wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour are likely, continuing in Kodiak and across Prince William Sound. And tonight into tomorrow. The other big thing we have is just this massive cold air mass has been sort of bottled up in the Arctic because of that jet stream pushing so far to the north. But now that jet stream's dropping to the south and it's pulling in that cold air with it. So look how much temperatures have changed in just the past 24 hours. So right now, compared to this time yesterday, temperatures are down 25 degrees in Anchorage, 21 degrees in Fairbanks. Juneau, you're right there the same, but some colder air is on the way for you. We also have that wind, cold air and wind. It is a dangerous combination. The wind chill right now in Anchorage is 18 degrees below zero, 35 below in Fairbanks, 35 below in Bethel. You can see extreme along the coast. Most extreme though when you get up to the slope. Dead Horse, the wind chill's at 55 below. You can get frostbite on exposed skin in as little as 5 minutes under those conditions. So really important, even if you're just walking the dog, walking out to your car, walking to your mailbox, grab the gloves, grab the hat. You will be thankful for it. As we look ahead, I can see those snow showers do continue in Southeast, but a lot of clearing, a lot of dry air, a lot of high pressure across the rest of the state, and that does hold through the middle part of next week. So overnight tonight, it's going to be clear, but it's going to be cold, dropping to 16 below in Kenai, 19 below in Soldotna. That's just the temperature, not even including the wind chill. In Seward, you're still going to be seeing those high winds gusting to 55 miles per hour, especially in the first part of the day. Into Prince William Sound, also still seeing that extreme wind in Whittier and Valdez through Thompson Pass. Quite breezy still in the Cop River Basin. So you have air temperatures at 28 below, but then you bring in those wind gusts to 25 miles per hour. That'll drop that wind chill significantly. In the valley, still seeing wind gusts between 25 and 45 miles per hour between Wasilla and Palmer. That is really overnight tonight. And for Anchorage, still seeing those strong winds overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Temperatures dropping to 10 below tonight. And then we will see a high temperature of 6 above. 6 above is about as warm as we got today. And as we look ahead here to the next 7-day stretch, you can see that cold air is here through the weekend. The next 6 nights will include below zero temperatures in Anchorage. This is the coldest stretch of weather that we have seen since early January. And we are flirting with some record cold temperatures. A record cold low temperature for today, for example, is 15 below. So we're not quite that cold, but gosh, we are getting close. And with those breezy winds, it does make it feel even colder than it is. We will see high temperatures struggling again to even get up into those mid-single digits. So here in the newsroom, it is cold. A lot of us have had our coats on here today. People complaining, but here's the thing. If the air temperature outside is 0 degrees, even if the temperature in the room is 65, which is a little chilly for inside, that's 65 degrees warmer than it is outside. So our heating systems are just having to work overload to keep everyone nice and toasty inside. But it is sunny, it is beautiful. So if you just find a nice spot by the window and let those sun rays come in.
And I was just looking up because I knew this date, but I wanted to make sure. There is a lunar eclipse coming up next on March 3rd, which
March
is next
3rd.
week.
Okay.
So this is good news.
Should be
because
clear.
I was absolutely worried that, I'll turn my mic up a little bit. I'm a loud talker anyway. But I was kind of worried that we wouldn't be able to see it, but it looks like we should be able to, and it is a blood moon. So we should see this. Very cool. That is coming up March 3rd. We'll have more details about that on Friday's Potluck. We'll do a little bit of sky watch and get you set up for that. But so that is a good thing. Clear skies, cold temperatures, but clear skies, beautiful skies. We'll also check out the aurora forecast because this is always a good time, and we're starting to get into those days when it's harder and harder to see the aurora. So it's nice to take the chance when we get it.
It's a trade-off when we get that extra sunlight. We do lose some things,
Yeah.
and it is that night sky being long enough to see the aurora at like 6 o'clock at night. That's always kind of nice.
Right. So cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, chilly, but
stay warm. We'll have more details and that full statewide forecast coming up tonight at 4 o'clock.
okay. You'll check it out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know you've got things to do, and we are going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk food and sports, and they both have to do with pickles. And welcome back to your Wednesday afternoon potluck. And pickleball, I'm sort of fascinated by this sport. I have not played it, but I am interested in it. It's a mashup of ping pong, tennis, and badminton. That's how they describe it. It has actually been around since 1965, which I absolutely did not know, but it did. It's kind of had this explosion in popularity. And in this Aging Untold Extra, Tisha Powell explains where there are numerous social and physical benefits to playing the sport. There's also a growing list of injuries that you can get from playing with players in a pickle.
At Holyoke Community College in Massachusetts, Sharon Grundell manages healthcare training programs and enjoys playing a good game of pickleball. But Sharon admits all that fun on the court can come with a risk.
I was hit in the eye with a pickleball at close range.
Barbara Johnson plays with Sharon. Barbara says she's experienced the joy of winning and witnessed the agony of an injury.
I was just playing with a friend a few weeks ago and he ruptured his Achilles tendon while we were playing.
Aging Untold expert Dr. Ray Rogers explains many pickleball injuries are in older adults who may push themselves a little too hard on the court.
A lot of sprains, so be it the sprains in the ankle or the knees or the wrist, and a lot of people are just inflamed, so overuse.
To help protect against getting hurt, make sure you understand the sport and what your body can tolerate. And try strengthening your lower body and core. That can help with balance and coordination.
It's not like you can just resume at age 60 where you left off at 18. Because your body has made some changes. You have to work yourself up to it. You know, even if it's just walking, a little bit of exercise, building muscle. And we always say in the medical world, muscle is the currency of longevity. When you have muscle, you have balance, you're putting all those different things together, but it's a gradual thing that you have to work your way up to.
Like I said, I am a little bit fascinated by that sport, and it is good to point out for some of us that we can't jump in at 60 where we were at 18, because a lot has happened in those ensuing years. Aging Untold, which that is a segment from, is a brand new talk show that you're going to start seeing right here on Alaska's News Source. It's actually going to be on Channel 2 starting on March 2nd. That's next Monday. It's going to be at 4:30 on Channel 2 every day. You can find more resources about Aging Untold, and you can do that by going to our website. Again, it is a new talk show that is going to be presented on Channel 2 starting next Monday, March 2nd at 4:30. Okay, how many times have you had someone say, someone should invent something like that? Well, after shopping at Costco last year, a California man had that very thought, and he came up with a solution. Kim Stevens reports how it changed the man's life.
Today, I still have no idea how big this actually is, but I just see like a lot of people I need to respond to.
Julian Cotillian's a pastry chef, and he was in high demand recently over Valentine's Day. His cakes, brownies, cookies, tiramisu, chocolate-covered strawberries, they were all big sellers at this Oakland taco truck where he and his partner Jeanette sell their sweets. That rush was nothing compared to his side gig, the $1.50. What is it? Cotillian's answer to easily eating his Costco hot dog while shopping and not making a mess.
Our drink would always spill.
And because Cotillian's an idea guy.
Since I was a kid, I've always had like a gear that always moved in my head that wanted to know how things work.
He drew the design, then learned how to use a 3D printer, and voila.
They're not all perfect. So, you know, they all have their little bit of differences and imperfections. So this is the first iteration. The second one, I went to white. It did look better.
But it was too long.
This is the final version, right? The $1.50 logo itself, much cleaner. And I don't have to color it in with a little paint marker. Has a bigger lip, so your hot dog won't fall off of it. And the cup is the same design. And it holds much better, I think, than the first two.
And since he went online with it,
his family kept like, dude, you're at 2 million. Dude, you're at 5 million. It's like, it went bonkers.
And he simply cannot keep up with demand.
I think right now I'm sitting at maybe 3 months to catch up to current orders.
And when he does, he'll start on his next big idea.
It is going to be a limited edition. And I do plan on releasing this after the craze, after I can catch up.
That is so interesting. I guess I never even thought about that. I love when people see a problem and they can come up with a solution, and that was a pretty brilliant solution. Okay, so speaking of new things, McDonald's announced yesterday the release of their Big Arch Burger in U.S. restaurants. The burger already has been popular in Ireland and the UK. The burger is really big, according to McDonald's, with 2 quarter-pound beef patties and 3 slices of melted cheddar cheese on each burger. In comparison, the Big Mac has 2 of their original patties, which are a little over 1.4 ounces in size. The burger also comes with Big Arch sauce, described by McDonald's on its online menu spotter page as a tangy, creamy sauce with perfect balance of mustard, pickle, and sweet tomato flavors. The Big Arch Burger will be available for a limited time nationwide starting March 3rd. So that is just next week. I believe that's Tuesday, because we were just talking about Aging Untold starting up on Monday. So kind of cool. If you like those things, I'm not a sauce girl. The burger looks okay, but I am not a sauce girl. So I don't know what I would do with that sauce. Okay. When we come back, we've got just a few more things going to happen, and then at 3 o'clock, we're going to switch over and let our sports team take over with 907 Sports. But right now, when we come back, there's another egg in the nest. Welcome back to this edition of the Wednesday Potluck. Now, depending on where you're watching us, you're probably watching us on your computer or on your phone. Don't forget, you can download our free streaming apps onto your TV. It's always nice to be able to watch on your TV and then have that second screen in your hand. At least that's the way I kind of watch TV these days. But you can do that. You just go to your smart device, your Apple TV, your Fire Stick, Roku device, maybe your TV or even Android TV as well, and just go add app and you can find Alaska's news source. You can also at that point watch the news in case you missed it. You can catch up on the latest stories and of course the latest weather as well. So you'll want to check that out. Now, if you have been following the saga, the legend, I would say, it is about Jackie and Shadow, those big bear eagles, and well, they've got a new surprise.
It's that sound that got the attention of eagle nest watchers around the world Tuesday.
And one of the girls like, Mrs. Wilson, you got to look at the TV. She's all fluffed up. And we're like, oh, she's like, I wonder if she's going to have an egg.
Bethany Wilson's 5th grade class in Orville was among the thousands of people watching the Big Bear Nest Cam around 2:30 this afternoon as Jackie squeals, fluffed up, stands up before revealing a little white egg.
All the books are in front of us and we're all staring at the screen. And then all of a sudden, they all started screaming. I wish I had recorded it. I didn't know it was actually going to happen.
The nest cam shows Jackie quickly begin to rearrange some of the nest material before then sitting back down on top of her egg.
We're elated. We are over the moon. We are having happy tears, and we're so excited.
It's more than just excitement for Jennifer Voisard with Friends of Big Bear Valley. Just last month, Jackie laid 2 eggs that were destroyed by ravens after a week. And then came the very tragic news. The organization's executive director and passionate eagle activist, Sandy Steers, died earlier this month.
Losing the first eggs and losing Sandy right after that. So this was definitely a day of hope and celebration.
The world watches Jackie and Shadow raise 2 eaglets, Gizmo and Sunny, last year. Voisard says there could be more eggs on the way this time too. Jackie generally lays 2 to 3 eggs per clutch, and they are normally laid 3 days apart.
We'll know if they do delayed incubation. So that means if they're not laying on the eggs full time, that could indicate that there's another egg. And they do that to help them hatch closer together.
If you're wondering where Shadow was, well, Dad did show up with some fluff for the egg.
We've invested a lot of energy into them. And so today was just super exciting. We're like so happy for them. And to have little 10-year-olds be happy for something else right now is really cool.
So nesting season usually runs until April. Voisard told us that Jackie could lay eggs her entire adult life. She's only 14 and bald eagles can live up to 30 years. Reporting in San Bernardino, Leslie Marin, CBS LA.
I just think it is so cool that we have the ability to watch that wildlife, and hopefully we're not interfering with it, but we get to watch it, and that she's got a new egg, and as they said, we could have a couple more still coming through. Okay, we got one more commercial break, and then we got a few more stories, and then as I said, we're going to bring in our sports team with 907 Sports. That's coming up at 3 o'clock. Welcome back to this Wednesday afternoon's Potluck. And, you know, we are getting some amazing images of the sky and the Milky Way. We want to show you this most recent one. Astronomers have captured a striking new look at the center of our Milky Way. This image was released today by the European Southern Observatory, and it shows a complex network of cosmic gas in an unprecedented detail. The data set is the largest of its kind, obtained by stitching together many observations kind of like puzzle pieces. It's the first time cold gas across the entire region has been brought into sharp focus, revealing the raw materials from which stars form. Scientists say the data will help them track the lives of stars and in the most extreme region of our galaxy. I think that is amazing, and just the images are so striking. Well, it might have seemed like a good idea at the time, buy now, pay later, but what happens when later arrives?
NerdWallet says 18% of holiday shoppers last year used buy now, pay later. And right about now, those pay later bills are coming due. Sarah Ratner with NerdWallet says this is the time to buckle down and take stock of where you are financially. If you still have buy now, pay later plans that have payments left over, she says make sure you don't miss a single one.
The problem is when you miss a payment, that can negatively affect your credit score. You might be subject to fees or interest depending on the nature of the buy now, pay later plan you've entered. And so there are consequences if you're unable to make these payments on time.
Ratner says entering into a buy now, pay later plan isn't going to affect your credit score in terms of having a new loan on your record. But missing a payment, that will be reported to the credit bureaus.
You work really hard to get your credit score to a certain point, and one missed payment can more than undo all of the effort that you've put in. Not just for buy now, pay later, but also missing payments for credit card bills and other loans as well. And so as much as you're able to, you want to make payments on time to keep all of those accounts in good standing.
Ratner says go back and look at your holiday-related spending and see where you may have splurged so you can take note for next year. And also, start that savings fund now for this year's holiday season so you won't have to rely on buy now, pay later or credit cards next December. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Sasha Bray.
Interesting stuff there. Yeah, it's tough when that later finally arrives and you realize that all that money you spent, you got to start paying that back. Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on this episode of the Wednesday Potluck. As I said, I'm going to step out and the sports team is going to join us here with 907 Sports in just a few minutes. So please stay with us.